Welcome to this tutorial on modern monitoring strategies, regulatory compliance, and smarter eTMF workflows to support efficient and inspection-ready clinical studies. In this tutorial, we'll focus on how clinical studies with medical devices and in vitro diagnostics are monitored, and how a trial master file, or TMF, can support that process. This tutorial is designed for anyone working in clinical research who's looking for practical insights into monitoring workflows and smart document management. The material has been developed by GBA Key2Compliance and is based on real-world experience from our clinical development team. Let's dive in. We'll walk through the different types of monitoring visits, highlight key responsibilities, and touch on common challenges that monitors may encounter. You'll also get a look at how an electronic trial master file, or eTMF, can be used to support monitoring and study activities efficiently. Throughout the session, several abbreviations will be used. A full list of abbreviations commonly used in clinical studies is available to download for easy reference. So what does a monitor actually do? The monitor, often called a clinical research associate or CRA, plays a central role in the study team. Their job is to oversee the progress of the clinical study and make sure everything stays on track. A CRA can work directly for the sponsor or be part of a contracted clinical research organization, also known as a CRO. If there's one key message to take away here, it's this. The CRA's role is not only about control and compliance, but also about providing training, motivating, supporting, and encouraging the site staff throughout the study. Let's take a closer look at why monitoring is such a critical part of a clinical study. According to good clinical practice, GCP, and the ISO 14155 standard, monitoring is overseeing the progress of the investigation. The goal is to make sure the study is conducted, documented and reported in line with the protocol, written procedures, and all applicable regulations. In short, the sponsor's quality gatekeeper. But beyond compliance, monitoring is there for something even more important: to verify that the rights, safety, and well-being of study participants are protected. It starts by checking that informed consent has been obtained before any study-specific procedures take place. Then comes source data review, or SDR, which is an overview of the medical records and other available documentation to check if something important might have been missed. For example, safety events that should have been reported but weren't. This review is about spotting what should have been entered but isn't there. Hand in hand with the source data review is source data verification, or SDV. That means comparing the data entered in the case report forms to the original source documents like medical records or lab results. The CRA also ensure that all adverse events and device deficiencies are both identified and reported accurately and on time. They also make sure that these have been evaluated, assessed, and followed up by the investigator according to the safety management plan and written procedures. They confirm that the investigational device is properly stored, accounted for, and available in the right quantities. And they keep an eye on staff to make sure everyone is properly delegated and trained, and that any new team members are adequately trained. And let's not forget about documentation of the study, namely in the investigator site file and the trial master file. Even though these files are the responsibility of the investigator and the sponsor, the CRA oftentimes helps keep it organized and current, in close collaboration with the site and the sponsor. Monitoring is rarely a one-size-fits-all process. In fact, there are several different methods, and the right approach depends on the type and complexity of the study. Monitoring involves on-site visits where the CRA physically visits the site to review collected data and verify documentation. It also involves remote monitoring, which is when the CRA checks data remotely, often by reviewing data in the study's electronic case report forms. This helps identify missing or incomplete information, or values that don't add up. The number of visits and how much source data needs to be verified can vary widely between studies. This is where risk-based monitoring comes in. Risk-based monitoring means tailoring your monitoring strategy based on the study's complexity, expected risks, and the site's experiences in clinical studies. All of this should be mapped out in a monitoring plan, This is a key document that details what type of monitoring will be done, when, and how. Let's talk about the Site Initiation Visit, or SIV. Once suitable clinics or sites have been selected and the necessary regulatory and ethics approvals are in place, the SIV is held. This visit happens at the start of the study, and there is usually one such visit for each participating site. The visit needs to be documented, and either the sponsor or the CRA leads the meeting. The CRA usually holds a presentation for the site staff and presents study-specific information according to the study's protocol and written manuals. Things like what is expected, what's in the investigator's brochure, and how informed consent should be handled. There is usually a walkthrough of the electronic data capture system that is training in how to fill in the CRFs and how to report safety events. In this sense, the SIV is regarded as a training session and is documented as such. One key task is completing the signature and delegation log. That's the document showing who's responsible for what at the site, and it is the principal investigator who is responsible for delegating site staff. The visit is also a chance to make sure the site has access to the medical device or product, and that the staff knows how to use it. The investigator should also be clear on their responsibilities from a GCP point of view. Once all approvals and essential documents are in place, training has been completed, the investigational product or device is available, and agreements are signed, the site is active. A formal green light or site activation document is signed, and the site can start enrolling study participants. So what actually happens during a routine on-site monitoring visit? Picture this: the study is live, patients are enrolled, and the site is busy. Now it's time for the CRA to step in and check that everything's running as it should. Let's walk through the key steps. First, informed consent. This is non-negotiable. Each study participant must have a properly signed consent form before any data can be reviewed. No form means no data access. Next up, safety reporting. It's important to make sure that all adverse events and device deficiencies are identified, recorded, evaluated, assessed, and reported correctly and on time. Then there's compliance. The CRA checks how the study's being run. Is the site following the protocol, GCP, and written procedures? Are there any trends noted in the deviations, and how can these be avoided in the future? Don't forget source data review and source data verification. This means comparing reported data to the original source documents. And if something doesn't match up or is missing, data queries come in, which are often resolved with the study coordinator or investigator. The investigational product or device also gets a check. Is it correctly stored and accounted for? Are temperatures within range? Is the supply adequate, or is it time to reorder? If biological samples are taken, these must be checked, often through a visit to the local laboratory for a visual inspection. Then it's time to review the investigator site file. Are all documents available, current and complete? Is the delegation log up to date? Are the subject logs complete? Throughout the visit, the CRA normally has ongoing touch points with the study coordinator, study nurse, or sub-investigator to walk through data, documents, and any open actions. This is where most of the practical review happens. And finally, a short wrap-up with the investigator. This is the chance to talk about how things are going. Are there any issues? Any recruitment challenges? Is anything slowing the team down? Are the site resources still sufficient? The goal is to stay aligned and surface any concerns early. It's always easier to address them now rather than later. All in all, the routine visit is part checklist, part reality check. And to summarize, it's about keeping the study on solid ground. The close-up visit takes place when the site has completed recruitment, or if the site is closed earlier than planned. First, the CRA checks that all source data verification is complete. Then, any missing documents are tracked down and finalized. All safety events need to be documented, evaluated, and reported. If anything is still ongoing, it should be clearly marked for follow-up. Once that's done, it's time to prepare the study documents for final archiving. This includes going through the files one last time, making sure everything is there, including any final correspondence. The investigational product or device, any study materials or comparator devices, and all biological samples must also be accounted for. Nothing should be missing. Finally, there is a closing discussion with the investigator, often about archiving, publication policy, final study reporting, and what to expect if an inspection or audit happens down the line. In short, the closeout visit is about wrapping things up neatly and completely, and by the book. Let's go through some general tasks that apply to all site monitoring visits, no matter the type. Once the visit is confirmed, a confirmation letter is sent, usually including an agenda, so the site knows what to expect. Then it's time to prepare. That means remote review of study data and the monitoring report from the previous visit, including the action item list or to-do list. Ideally, the visit goes according to plan, but as things don't always run on schedule, flexibility is needed. After the visit, it's time to document the findings. A detailed report is written to show how the visit aligns with the monitoring plan. The report also explains how compliant the site is with the protocol, regulations, and manuals. Protocol deviations are listed in detail together with list of actions that need follow-up. When the report is done, it is sent to the sponsor for review and approval. One last step is for the CRA to send a follow-up letter to the site. The follow-up letter includes a summary of the main activities, key findings, and anything that still needs attention. Site management and support is a continuous process that goes on between visits, ensuring ongoing follow-up and collaboration with the site staff. But here's something important to remember. Monitoring doesn't begin and end with site visits. It's a continuous process, and site management is a big part of it. Between visits, the CRA stays in contact with the site to follow up on recruitment progress, data entry status, safety reporting, documentation, and more. Any issues or observations are discussed with the site team or other team functions such as the safety manager, the data manager, the project manager, and escalated to the sponsor if needed. The CRA may provide updated documents, check training status, or clarify procedures, all depending on the site's needs. These day-to-day activities are tracked using tools like the action item log, and important communication is documented via emails or contact reports, all of which are filed. In short, site management is ongoing and just as critical to study progress as the monitoring visits themselves. And remember that the CRA is the link between the site and the project manager, who are the sponsor's eyes and ears on site, making sure issues are addressed and followed up until they are resolved. Monitoring comes with its share of challenges. Data-related delays are also common. Late entries, missing source documentation, and unresolved queries can impact study timelines and compromise data integrity. From a regulatory perspective, these issues may affect inspection readiness and the credibility of the study. Communication with the site can be slow, especially when staff are balancing multiple studies or have limited availability. Delayed or inadequate site performance, such as slow recruitment, late reporting, missing assessments, or untimely actions, can cause protocol non-compliance, jeopardize patient safety, compromise data integrity, and ultimately delay study timelines. If the CRA is seen mainly as a compliance cop rather than a support function, collaboration and progress may suffer. Building trust is key to effective site engagement. Up next, what the trial master file is and how an electronic TMF can support smarter, more efficient monitoring and inspection readiness. In addition to reviewing the investigator site file, the CRA plays a key role in supporting the sponsor's oversight through the trial master file, which is critical for showing compliance. The TMF is a cornerstone of every clinical study. It holds the essential documents proving that the study followed GCP, ISO standards, and applicable regulations like MDR and IVDR. From day one, both the sponsor and investigator are responsible for maintaining their parts of the TMF before, during, and after the study. The TMF tells the full story, how the study was designed, conducted, and closed, and it forms the basis for audits and inspections. Good documentation hygiene not only saves time in the long run, but also supports the management of the study and keeps it ready for inspections at all times. While an electronic TMF isn't required, it's a smarter, more efficient alternative to paper. It offers improved oversight, version control, audit trails, and reduced risk of missing documents, all in one accessible digital location. The GBA Key2Compliance eTMF is a secure, cloud-based platform designed to support the full document lifecycle in clinical studies, meaning collection, review, version control, and archiving. It is fully compliant with ISO standards and FDA requirements for digital records and e-signatures. It's built for flexibility and is easy to use. You can customize folder structures, create study teams, assign and adjust access roles, and monitor activities across multiple studies. Email notifications and automated reminders help keep everyone aligned and on schedule. All documents are traceable with unique IDs, timestamps, and version history, making audits smoother and compliance effortless. Electronic signatures are integrated to simplify approvals and reduce delays, which is especially valuable in multi-center or remote settings. Log in to see your tasks and recent activity. Navigate to your study, browse or search documents, and add new files or folders with just a few clicks. Upload existing files or create new ones, assign document types and IDs, and everything is instantly tracked and organized. And with long-term archiving requirements for up to 10 to 15 years, the eTMF ensures your study documentation remains complete, secure, and inspection-ready at all times. This concludes our tutorial session on monitoring an eTMF. We've looked at what monitoring really involves from site initiation to close out, and how the CRA plays a key role in ensuring patient safety, data integrity, and compliance. We've also explored how an electronic trial master file can make clinical documentation more efficient, more secure, and easier to manage across the entire study lifecycle. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, reflections, or feedback, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to support you and would love to hear from you, whether it's a follow-up question, a thought you'd like to share, or just to say hello.